Tanking in the NFL is stupid. I said it. And maybe a lot of fans think it every week, but I'm gonna come out and say it. There is a benefit to tanking. You do select higher in the draft in every sport, right? MLB, there's been dynasties made from tanking. There's been several championships. You think of the Cubs in 2016, the Astros in 2017 and 2022. There's been several World Series determined by tanking teams getting first overall picks and building from there. And obviously, it's true in the NFL too, right? You tank, you get the first overall pick, and maybe you get a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence. And if you would have won one game, you would have ended up with the second pick, and that would have caught you Zach Wilson. But in general, tanking in the NFL is stupid, and I'll talk about that today. We're sitting in a week where there was some upsets going on. New England lost to Pittsburgh, and although Pittsburgh didn't have Kenny Pickett, their starting quarterback, New England had Bailey Zappi starting with Mac Jones on the bench, Malik Cunningham in the on the roster, the active roster as well. Um, Cincinnati had Jake Browning play really well for them. My New York Jets, our New York Jets, your New York Jets, the world's New York Jets, beat the Houston Texans 30-6. The Chicago Bears beat the Detroit Lions 28-13. Who else? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, Buffalo beat Kansas City 20-17. I don't think that was a crazy upset. Dallas beat Philadelphia 33-13. And then tonight, Monday night, the New York Giants beat the Green Bay Packers 24-22. The phrase "everybody can beat anybody on any given day" is never more true than in the NFL. Any given Sunday, any team could win. And in a game where I was looking for the Jets to lose to get a better draft pick, they beat the Texans. And as crazy as it is to say, my mood was a little better. Even though Zach Wilson doesn't have a future with this team, even though Aaron Rodgers is going to come back next year and be the captain of the ship looking for a Super Bowl, even though the odds are the better pick gets you the better player. And even though a Jets loss probably would have put them in a better spot for Joe Alt or Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver from Ohio State, at the end of the day, they won. At the end of the day, I was a little bit happier. Zach Wilson balled out. This is his best game as a starter. He played good in the first half. The offense really didn't produce. He played great in the second half. The offense put up 30 points. Simple as that. And the Jets defense really held, I want to say they held the Texans scoreless. The 6 points the Texans did have was because Zach Wilson fumbled it at midfield. Texans end up scoring that touchdown, don't hit the extra point, and the Jets win 30-6. The thing about tanking in the NFL is that it relies on the fact that you have strong decision makers who will make a solid choice earlier on in the draft. And it also relies on the fact that your roster and players and culture will be no different if you won the game or lost the game. And I think that's where we lose a little bit. The Jets are a good example of this, but you could name several other teams that would benefit from losing. They benefit. They want to get a higher pick, whether that's to draft the quarterback like Caleb Williams or Drake May, whether that's to draft a weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Brock Bowers, whether that's to draft an offensive lineman or a defensive impact player. Winning hurts their chances at a higher selection. But at the end of the day, let's take the Jets, for instance, as I'm a Jets fan. Do we kind of want to know whether Robert Saleh is the guy? Do we kind of want to know that Nathaniel Hackett's a good offensive coordinator? Do we kind of want to have faith in this administration and not just desperately cling on to the hope that Aaron Rodgers is going to completely flip things on its head? Because at the end of the day, if the Jets lost out, if they went 4-13 or whatever it was, some of that's in question, right? That means the offense never got it together. That means the defense got tired week after week as they did all of last year and have up until this year. That means Robert Saleh didn't coach well enough to win close games against teams within the realm of beatability. And more importantly, it damages the overall impact that the team can have next year, that the organization could have next year. Because if you're on that Jets team, right? Let's take a player, for instance. If you're CJ Mosley on that Jets defense and you watch this team basically give up week after week and they go 4-13, do you feel as confident coming in the next year? Aaron Rodgers or no Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers has been a great inspiration for that Jets team. But regardless, do you feel less or more confident in Robert Saleh's ability as a head coach? Less is the answer. And cracks in the foundation can start to destroy the house. And at the end of the day, if you have an organization where you don't believe in their ability to draft a quarterback, maybe an improved selection doesn't really help you that much, right? I mean, you can name time and time again where quarterbacks have gone late and late and late and later in the draft. I mean, Tom Brady's the prime example, but you can name guys all the way through fourth round, third round, second round, late first round picks. Let's look at the guys who are really good in the league today, right? Best quarterback in the league is Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. Ready to go 10th. Second best quarterback in the league, Joe Burrow. Okay, he went first. Third best quarterback in the league. Debate with who you want. Jalen Hurts is a second round pick. Fourth best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen was what, the 7th overall pick? Maybe 10th. I don't remember. Fifth best quarterback in the league, Lamar Jackson, 32nd overall pick. I don't know who you have later, in the rest of this list, but you could name Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, and Tua Tagovailoa, all of which had guys go before them in the draft. Quarterbacks and non-quarterbacks. So at the end of the day, are you more likely to make a better selection at one? Probably. Is it worth throwing away your team culture for? Probably not. I remember there was a game several years ago. I don't remember what year it was specifically. I want to say like 2019, but I'm not certain on that. Chase Young was widely regarded as the highest draft prospect. I could probably figure this out. Let me see. Chase Young draft. Coming out of Ohio State, right? Premier edge rusher, 2020 NFL draft. Okay, so let me see. 2020 NFL draft results. And there was a game between the Giants and the Commanders late in the season. And the Giants ended up winning that game. And the idea was, well, you cost yourself Chase Young. Wasn't worth it. But maybe it does something for the culture. And Washington ended up with Chase Young. And where's Chase Young now? In San Francisco. Not helping the Commanders win. Yeah, so 2020 draft. Joe Burrow was first overall. And then Chase Young was second. Jeff Okudah was third. Andrew Thomas was fourth. Tua was fifth. Justin Herbert was sixth. Wow, there's a lot of duds on this. But to show you, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about quarterbacks here. These are some of the players drafted later in this round. Tristan Wirfs, 13th overall offensive tackle to the Buccaneers. CeeDee Lamb, 17th overall wide receiver to the Dallas Cowboys. He's top 5 receiver in the NFL today, in my opinion. Justin Jefferson, probably the best receiver in the NFL today. 22nd wide receiver to Minnesota. Brandon Ayuk went 25th. Jordan Love went 26th. I mean, this is only looking at the first round. If we pull up the second round, I bet you T. Higgins, 33rd pick. Michael Pittman Jr., 34th pick. I remember I wanted him to drop to the Jets pick. I believe the Jets had 37 or something like that, 38. They traded out of it, so I can't see it here. But Jalen Hurts, there he is. 53rd. 53rd pick in the draft. Picks in front of Jalen Hurts. Cam Akers. Okay, decent running back. Trevon Diggs, obviously a good corner. Jalen Johnson, obviously a good corner. Chase Claypool. Darrell Taylor, Marlon Davidson, KJ Hamler, Antoine Winfield Jr., Grant Delpit, Cole Kmet, Laviska Shenault Jr., Jonathan Taylor turned himself into a very good running back. Robert Hunt, Ross Blacklock, Yotura Gross Matos, Kyle Duggar, Xavier McKinney, DeAndre Swift. I mean, tell me how many of those guys you would rather have over Jalen Hurts right now. And the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts when they had a quarterback, when they had a guy who ended up making a run which would have been an MVP if he didn't get hurt. Year over year, guys get drafted where they get drafted. Talent evaluators see the players where they are and draft them because they're the best player on the board. But at the end of the day, if your talent evaluators aren't perfect, which 32 of them out of 32 in the NFL aren't, you never know. You just never know. And sure, giving you more options is something that's always going to help you. But if your team isn't 100% certain on making those options count, I don't know. But I think it's really interesting when we look at the current draft. I'm gonna pull up Takeathon right now. When we look at the current draft order in the NFL, Carolina is the worst team in the NFL, but their pick's going to Chicago for Carolina traded up for Bryce Young. Perfect example. Bryce Young, first overall pick. CJ Stroud, second overall pick. Did Carolina get it wrong? Maybe. We don't know yet, but it sure as hell looks like it. CJ Stroud looks like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL already. Bryce Young might be 32nd. And this is not to say he's not going to have a better career. Maybe he does. Who knows? He could be the greatest of all time if we look 20 years down the road. But as we see it right now, if we could redraft this, the Carolina Panthers would take CJ Stroud first overall. Anyway, second pick will be New England. New England's definitely taken a quarterback because Mac Jones was not selected. Was not a great selection. Bailey Zappi's not the guy. So someone else has to be. And if we talk about talent evaluators picking the right players, well, Bill Belichick picked the right one in drafting the greatest player of all time in Tom Brady. 1 for 2. Because Mac Jones, not that. Number 3 is Arizona. You'd have to assume they're not taking a quarterback. Number 4, Washington. You probably assume they're not taking a quarterback. Tennessee is 5. You probably assume they're not taking a quarterback. 6 is Chicago again. 7 is Vegas. Maybe Vegas takes a stab at a QB. But so more of my point here is that Chicago's sitting at pick 1 and pick 6. And many, 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 many people think they're going to go Caleb Williams at first overall. And I'm leaning that way as well. But at the end of the day, you probably know what you have in Justin Fields. Is some team able to turn him into a franchise quarterback? Maybe. Is Caleb Williams absolutely worth tanking over getting it? Now, of course, Chicago didn't tank to get Caleb Williams. Carolina is the worst team in the NFL. But if we look at where the situation is, if Chicago was the first overall pick, Caleb Williams isn't solving their problems. And that's why I think it's a little overrated. It's overrated not only because I don't think it helps you all that much on an NFL basis, but it really, really deters the fan. And take it as Jets fan who's been one of the most miserable NFL fans. The Jets have the longest playoff drought, tied for the longest playoff drought in North American pro sports, tied with the Buffalo Sabres of the NHL. Take it from me as a Jets fan. Losing sucks, especially when the games are once a week. Losing sucks. So if a team's not trying to lose, if they're trying to win, if they're trying to skirt to the playoffs, even if it means getting eliminated or trying to have a good season, I can't blame them. And I honestly love that way more than tanking. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think tanking in the NFL is overrated? Do you wish your team would be tanking or wouldn't be tanking? If they were the Jets, if they were the Bears, if they were whoever else, let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching this Quick Thoughts episode. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.